All right, Cowboys Nation, gather around because it's time to unpack one of the biggest conversations flying around right now, the George Pickens situation. I know you've seen the trade rumors, the contract talk, the debates about what Dallas should do next. Some folks are ready to ship him off tomorrow. Others think he should be locked down for the long haul. But let's take a deep breath and look at everything with a clear lens, because not everything you read online tells the full story of what's really happening inside the star. First off, let's be honest. The Cowboys have handled this whole thing with more patience and strategy than people are giving them credit for. When they made the move for George Pickens, both sides wanted to keep things calm. No rush, no drama. Dallas wanted to see how he'd fit into the system, how he'd connect with Dak, and how he'd handle the spotlight that comes with wearing that star on his helmet. And up to this point, he's done everything right. The chemistry with Dak has grown, the production on the field speaks for itself, and the attitude has been all business. It's training camp to game day. The guy's been locked in. Now, let's talk about those trade rumors that have been bouncing around everywhere. It all started when someone floated the idea that maybe, just maybe, if the Cowboys weren't planning to extend or tag Pickens, they could move him for value. The internet took that and ran wild with it, like it was some master plan to fix the defense overnight by dealing away one of the team's most electric playmakers. But let's be real. Trading George Pickens to patch holes on defense is like tearing down your best wall to build a fence. You're solving one problem by creating another. That's not how you build a championship team. And here's the thing. The Cowboys aren't desperate. They've got cap flexibility. Don't let those random social media charts fool you into thinking the team's broke. Yes, if you look at the current books, it might look tight, a couple million here or there, but that's before you account for restructures and smart moves the front office has already lined up. They can free up well over $100 million just by adjusting deals for guys like Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Tyler Smith. You trim some contracts, make a few cuts that make sense, and suddenly you're sitting on a mountain of spending power. So no, Dallas doesn't need to start selling off top talent. This defense does need work. Nobody's denying that. We've all seen the struggles. We've all yelled at the screen when tackles are missed or coverages break down. But the solution isn't to blow up the part of the team that's actually working. You fix the defense with your draft capital, with smart free agency, with depth signings, not by trading your offensive centerpiece. When you already have a top 5 unit on offense, you build around that, not away from it. Let's get real about George Pickens for a second. He's been everything the Cowboys hoped he would be when they made the move to get him. He's finally playing with a top-tier quarterback, and you can see the difference in every snap. The routes are sharper, the effort's higher, and he's making the kind of catches that shift momentum. This is the kind of player that changes games, not just with stats, but with energy, and the front office knows it. They're not in a rush to push a deal just to make headlines. They want the right deal at the right time. That's where things get interesting. There are a few different paths this could go. They could extend him right now and lock him up long-term. They could wait, see how the rest of the season unfolds, and then use the franchise tag as leverage in negotiations. Or, in a most unlikely scenario, they could tag and trade him. But letting him walk? That's not even on the table. The Cowboys aren't foolish enough to lose a player like this for nothing. And when you look at the numbers, the math actually favors waiting just a bit. The projected franchise tag for a top receiver next year is somewhere in the upper 20s per year. That's a big number, sure, but it gives both sides flexibility. It gives the Cowboys time to figure out how far they're willing to go, and it gives Pickens time to keep proving his worth. And if we're being honest, he's doing that every week. The chemistry with Dak is real, and this offense looks completely different when he's on the field. Of course, some fans are nervous about history repeating itself. We all remember the Dak tag years, the drama around Amari Cooper, the long waits that ended up costing the team leverage. The Cowboys have been burned before by dragging things out too long. But the difference this time is that they've learned from those mistakes. The cap space is there, the structure is there, and the plan seems clearer. They don't need to panic. Now, there's also been talk about whether it's smart to pay both a top quarterback and 2 top receivers. Some folks think that's not sustainable. But look around the league. Teams have done it and won big. Philadelphia just went to a Super Bowl doing exactly that. They paid Jalen Hurts. They paid A.J. Brown. They paid Devonta Smith. The key wasn't that they didn't spend money. It was that they spent it wisely and built around their strengths. That's the playbook Dallas should be following right now. Pickens isn't just another piece on the roster. He's a statement player. When he's on the field, defenses have to adjust. Safeties roll over. Corners play off. That opens up the entire offense, from CD to Ferguson to the ground game. You can't teach that kind of impact. It's earned. And the Cowboys finally have an offense that feels balanced, explosive, and dangerous again. So, do you pay George Pickens? The answer feels obvious. Unless someone calls you with a ridiculous, franchise-altering offer, you hold on to your guy. He's young, ascending, and fits perfectly with what Dak does best. And if you're the Cowboys, you've got the financial room to make it work without tearing apart the rest of your roster. At the end of the day, this comes down to one simple thing: identity. Are the Cowboys a team that builds around elite offensive firepower and tries to outscore everyone? Or are they going to keep chasing defensive fixes at the expense of their stars? Because one thing's clear, the offense is ready to win now. The defense can catch up later. But you don't dismantle your best weapon in the name of balance. You build around what works and find smart ways to fill the rest. This isn't about panic trades or cap gymnastics. It's about patience, strategy, and confidence in the direction you're heading. Pickens has done everything right so far, and the Cowboys have handled it better than they're being given credit for. Let the season play out. Let the man ball out. And when the time comes, back up the truck and pay him what he's earned, because losing a player like that would be the kind of mistake this franchise can't afford to make again. All right, so let's dig even deeper into what this deal could actually look like, because that's where things get real. Everyone loves to throw around contract numbers like it's monopoly money, but when you start talking about elite wide receivers, the math gets tricky fast. Right now, the top 10 receivers in the league are all sitting around that $30 million a year range, and that number isn't going down anytime soon. The market always moves forward, and every new contract pushes it higher. That means when George Pickens' time comes, he's going to be looking at a deal that easily starts north of $28 million per season, with somewhere around $60 to $70 million guaranteed. And honestly, that's not crazy. That's just where the market is. When you look at the production he's bringing, the way he's transformed the offense, and how young he still is, those numbers start to make sense. His agent knows it. The Cowboys know it, and the rest of the league knows it too. The question isn't whether he deserves it. The question is how the Cowboys structure it. Because if there's one thing this front office has learned, it's that structure is everything. If you give him a long-term deal, say 4 or 5 years, you can spread out that guaranteed money and keep the cap hit manageable in the early years. That's what smart teams do. You lock down your star, but you build in flexibility for the future. The Cowboys have done this before with guys like Zach Martin and Dak Prescott. You push some of that hit forward, keep your core together, and let the cap grow. Remember, the cap goes up every year. What looks like a massive deal now is going to feel pretty average 2 or 3 seasons from today. And look, if you franchise tag him first, that's not the end of the world either. In fact, it might be the most realistic outcome right now. Tagging him keeps him on the roster, gives both sides more time to negotiate, and lets the Cowboys maintain control. It's not ideal long-term because it eats up space and can create tension, but it buys time. And sometimes time is exactly what you need to get a deal done right. Jerry Jones himself hinted that they'll look closely at what make financial sense, but also made it clear how proud he is of what George has done so far. You can feel that excitement in the organization. They know what they have, a legitimate difference maker who's changed how defenses game plan against them. But as always with Dallas, money talks and timing matters. The front office loves to play the long game, waiting until the summer to finalize extensions, when they can see the full picture of the roster. That's probably how this one plays out too. So what kind of contract are we actually talking about here? If we look at similar deals, guys like Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and T. Higgins, you start to see a pattern. These are players who aren't necessarily the clear-cut number 1 option on their team, but they're close. Their average annual salaries hover between $26 and $28 million, with guarantees anywhere from $55 to $70 million. That's the ballpark for George Pickens. He's producing like a number 1, but he's in a system with another star receiver, so his number might fall just a hair below the top of the market. But make no mistake, if he hits free agency, all that goes out the window. There are desperate teams out there with huge amounts of cap space, and they'd throw the bank at him in a heartbeat. That's why his agents won't settle for a team-friendly deal right now. They know his value is only climbing, and every week he puts up another highlight, that price tag creeps higher. That's also why the Cowboys can't drag their feet forever. You don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past, waiting too long and then paying even more because the market jumped again. We've seen it before with Dak and others. Dallas waited, the market exploded, and suddenly the price doubled. If they believe George Pickens is their guy, and right now all signs say yes, then getting ahead of the curve is the smart move. Lock him up before someone else resets the market and makes it harder. Now, let's touch on something that always gets brought up in these conversations, the pie analogy. You know the one. There's only so much money to go around, and if you give a big slice to one guy, you've got less for everyone else. But that logic doesn't always hold up when you look at how championship teams are built. The truth is, the salary cap is more flexible than people think. You can move money, restructure deals, and create space if you really want to. The question isn't whether the Cowboys can afford George Pickens, it's whether they choose to. And based on what we've seen, they absolutely can. They've cleared space before for big contracts. They've made it work with multiple stars. The trick is managing the timing, and right now, they've got everything lined up perfectly. They've already extended key players, they've got rookie deals balancing out the books, and they've got the ability to move things around. So paying Pickens shouldn't be a problem. The only real question is whether they'll move quickly or play the waiting game. There's also something symbolic about this deal. Extending Pickens would send a message that Dallas is serious about keeping its offensive core together and building around Dak for the long haul. Too often in recent years, the Cowboys have been a step behind when it comes to retaining their stars. They've hesitated, debated, and second-guessed. But this time, they have a chance to show decisiveness. To say, this is our guy, this is our offense, and we're not breaking it up. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, sources claim that the Dallas Cowboys have reportedly acquired defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants. While neither team has confirmed the trade, insiders suggest the deal could reshape the NFC East landscape and add a new dimension to Dallas' already formidable defensive line. Lawrence, a dominant force in the trenches since entering the league, has been a cornerstone for the Giants' defense. Known for his raw power and ability to disrupt both the run and pass, his departure would mark the end of an era in New York. The Giants, who have struggled to find consistency in recent seasons, may be looking to recalibrate their roster, potentially focusing on draft capital or younger assets in exchange for the veteran presence Lawrence brings. For the Cowboys, the acquisition of Lawrence would be nothing short of explosive. Dallas has long been searching for that game-changing interior presence to complement Micah Parsons and bolster a defense that has shown flashes of brilliance but occasionally struggles against elite offensive lines. Adding Lawrence could provide not only the physicality but also the leadership that has often been missing in crucial matchups. Sources hint that the Cowboys front office has been aggressively pursuing this deal for weeks, and talks may have finally reached a breakthrough. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing over the potential impact. Social media is awash with speculation, ranging from strategic breakdowns of how Lawrence fits into Dallas defensive schemes to debates over what the Giants might receive in return. The rumor, if true, signals that the Cowboys are not merely content with their current roster. They are actively hunting for ways to dominate their division and make a deeper playoff push. While official statements remain pending, one thing is clear. If Dexter Lawrence indeed dons the Cowboys star, the NFC East may be in for a wild ride next season. The implications are huge, not only for the two teams involved but for the league as a whole, setting the stage for one of the most talked-about storylines leading into the new NFL year. Stay tuned. The rumor mill is just getting started. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.